Hello, welcome back. This is Disha Shah and I create videos on how to make, save and invest money. If you're curious to find out if I will be investing in the Nykaa IPO or not, watch the whole video and somewhere in between I will tell you if I'm investing in the IPO or not. I know, cheeky. Also, before you go, I have been obsessed with this new money personality test that's come out. If you're interested in finding out your money personality, I will leave the link in the description box. Make sure you take the test. Take the test and tell me what personality you got in the comment section. If I get more than 50 comments, then I will tell you what my money personality is and I will pin the comment. Today's video is super special because my first investment into single stocks was through an IPO. It was the SBI Cards and Payments IPO that happened on 5th March 2020. Before this, I only invested in mutual funds. So my aunt mentioned that this IPO was coming out and she believed that it would be a good one and asked me to apply for it. I did my own research and was convinced that it was a company that I would like to hold long term, not just the IPO. And so I applied for it. I rushed and got my Demat account and I applied for it. And then I started investing in single stocks afterwards. So for everyone who's thinking that IPOs are for the nerdy investors or the mighty investors, my story is proof that you can enter into the stock market through an IPO. I'm super excited to get into today's video because it is the video that I would have liked as a beginner applying for an IPO. It goes from the documents you need to what is an IPO, why a company chooses to IPO, what are the things you should consider while applying to IPO, and how to apply for an IPO. There are two must-have documents to apply for an IPO, a PAN card and a Demat account. You can open a Demat account through any online brokerage. I will leave some links that you can use to open an online Demat account in the description box, so make sure you check it out. A Demat, in simple words, is nothing but like a bank but for your investments. So if someone is sending money to you, where would they send it? It would get credited into your bank. Similarly, when you buy shares or apply for an IPO, if you get the allotment, if you get the shares, it gets credited into your Demat account. So it's like a storage space for holding all kinds of investments. So you need your PAN card and your Demat account to get started. When you read or hear a name of the company with private limited at the end of it, you know that it's a private company. Let's take, for example, Burger King. Before its IPO in December 2020, most of its shares or stocks were owned by founders or big investors like on Shark Tank or institutional investors, and sometimes by family members or employees who would have lent them money to get up and running. But it is not available on the stock exchange for you and I to buy. But after its IPO, it is now listed on the stock exchange under the ticker name Burger King for you and I to go buy. An IPO, initial public offering, is a way in which the company for the very first time offers its stocks for the general public to buy, you and I. After an IPO, a company is recognized as a public company and its stocks are listed on the stock exchange permanently for us to buy and sell. And why is this exciting? IPOs give you an opportunity to be among the first investors to own a small piece of the company you love and be a part of its growth and expansion journey. But why are companies willing to give up a portion of their ownership and go public with an IPO in the first place? The main reason why companies go public is to raise capital or raise money. Companies need money to promote their products, invest in research and development, expand their product line, be in more locations, and just grow in general. And as a private company, there are three ways to raise money. First, make profits and use this money to expand and grow. 2, take on debt, which means you take a loan from either a bank or a person, but the company has to pay back this money along with interest. Or 3rd, issue equity, stocks or shares, whatever you want to call it, to big private investors like on Shark Tank in exchange for a large sum of money. Well, if these options exist, why do they go public? Number 1, going public means a chance to raise money like never before. Imagine 2-3 private investors versus when you're listed on the stock market, a whole country has the opportunity to give you money. Number 2, unlike a loan which you have to pay back with interest, going public means offering a small percentage of ownership to the investor in return for some money. So if the company falters, they don't have to pay anything back to the investors and the investors take on the losses just like they would take on the profits if the company did well. Number 3, when a company is private, its value is usually a guess based on its assets, revenue, growth, etc. So when private companies go public, a stock that might have been worth nothing after a day of IPO has value. So it's a great time for private investors who had invested before the company went public to exit the company by selling its stakes or shares. There are also a lot more benefits like brand value, etc., that we won't get into details, but these are the top reasons why companies go public. Now, in order for a company to go public, it has to go through an IPO process. With the help of an investment bank, it decides its share price, the IPO date, and ensures that it meets all the criteria that SEBI requires a company to meet for it to go public. Now, during this time, companies will invest a lot in promotional activities that create a hype around why it's the best company to invest in. And this is where you stop yourself and ask, should I be investing in this IPO or not? Burger King's IPO was 60 rupees, and the company's stock price ended 125% higher at rupees 135 per share on the first day of listing. Many short-term investors who look to make a quick profit think of IPOs as a great opportunity to do so. But it's not always a rosy picture. There have been many times when the stock price is opened at a much lower value and losses were made. Long-term investors look at IPO as a great way to get competitive prices for winning stocks that will earn them returns over the long term as the price of the stock appreciates. Either way, whether you're a short-term investor or a long-term investor, you have to do your research. It is very important to know that a company will only IPO at a time where it thinks it will get its highest valuation. So just because you're getting early access to the stock does not mean that it's always coming at a discounted rate or a cheap rate or a rate that is fair. So don't invest in an IPO because everyone's talking about it and you're feeling FOMO. Cut out all the hype and check if it is a fundamentally good company. Whether it was an IPO or not, would you still invest in this company? Lastly, it's important to remember that you can always buy the stocks of the company after the IPO. In fact, many times the prices of the stocks after IPO in the coming months fall down as the excitement comes down. So you might get it at a better price if you just wait it out. If you stuck till here, you are doing great. We've already learned the documents you need, why a company IPOs, what is an IPO, what are the advantages, the different perspectives of looking at an IPO, and now we'll understand some terminologies that you will frequently see while applying for an IPO, starting with the opening date and closing date. For Nykaa, the opening date is 28th October to 1st November. This means that it gives you 28th, 29th, 30th, and 1st. 4 days that you can apply and subscribe for the Nykaa IPO. The second thing you have to understand is that all shares are predetermined at a certain price. So either it's a fixed price or it's a range. 1,085 to 1,125 per share. And you are only allowed to buy in a lot size of 12. When a company launches an IPO, it decides the minimum number of shares that an investor must apply for. This is known as an IPO bid lot or minimum order quantity or a lot size. For example, the Nykaa's lot size is 12. Now, if the investor wants to apply for more shares, they have to do so only in the multiples of 12. So they can apply for 2 or 3 lots, which will be 24 or 36 shares. The investor cannot apply for 20 shares or 30 shares, which means that on an average, you will need 13,020 rupees to apply for a Nykaa IPO. Also, as a retail investor, the maximum amount that you can block for your IPO is 2 lakhs. This is done to ensure that all categories of investors get an opportunity to apply and get allotted shares. The next thing, Nykaa's IPO allotment date is November 8th. On this day, you find out if you got the Nykaa shares or not. Wait, did I not tell that after all of this due diligence, there is a chance that you might not get it? Yes, unfortunately, IPOs work in a lottery system. So after everyone has subscribed or applied for the Nykaa IPO, the registrar of an IPO publishes a document to the stock exchanges and to the investors, telling them about the final price of the IPO, the demand or bidding information, and the share allocation ratio. If the share allocation ratio is 1:5, it means that for every 5 applicants of the IPO, 1 person gets 1 lot of shares. And if the value of the ratio is firm, then all applicants receive some shares. Through lottery pickings, it is decided who gets how many shares. Now, you could have applied for many lots. 1 lot has 12 shares, so you could have applied for 3 lots, 4 lots. If the Nykaa IPO is oversubscribed, that means there are too many, then they can only give out a minimum of 1 lot. So if you apply for 4 lots, you might just get 1, and the rest of the money for the 3 lots that you would have blocked gets refunded back to you. A quick tip for everyone applying to the Nykaa IPO. A benefit of waiting a couple of days after the IPO has opened before you apply is that you can find out if the Nykaa IPO is oversubscribed or not. Now that we know Nykaa is oversubscribed, don't apply for more than 1 lot, because as we have learned, if the Nykaa IPO is oversubscribed, it doesn't matter how many lots you apply for, you will only get 1 lot. So don't block out your money and waste it. Apply only for 1 lot. And if you don't get the IPO, whatever amount that you've applied for is refunded back to you within a couple of working days. Another term that you will often hear with an IPO is a red herring prospectus. The DRHP, or the draft red herring prospectus or red herring prospectus, is simply a document that a company submits to the market regulator, SEBI, before listing for its IPO. The document includes important disclosures that the IPO-bound company makes, including financial statements, industry overview, promoters' backgrounds. Promoters, nothing but the founders or the people who started the company, who have the initial shares in the company. Further, the company also states its reasons for raising money. The DRHP has the most authentic and detailed information about the company, and hence it's a great resource for research before you subscribe for an IPO. Next, where can you buy the Nykaa IPO? In the 2 most popular markets for stocks, that is the NSE and BSE, Nykaa will be available on both the exchanges. How do you apply for an IPO? You can apply through any online broking platform. There are many fintech apps that are available that will let you apply for the Nykaa IPO or any other IPOs in the future. Awesome. Now, if you're thinking, Disha, you've told us about the IPO, you've told us about the details of the IPO, tell us a little more about the company. I believe that there are YouTubers who've done a fantastic job at this. I will leave the links to their decoding Nykaa, its IPO, its red herring prospectus, and all of that. So follow the links in the description box to understand more about the fundamentals of the company and if you think it's a good investment or not. Now to the mystery question that all of you have been thinking, Disha, will you be applying for the Nykaa IPO or not? Yes, I will be applying for the Nykaa IPO. I have done my research and believe that it's a good investment for me, and so I will be applying. Will I get allotment or no? I do not know. But if you wish to know more about the company, follow the links in the description box. If you enjoyed this video and want me to create more IPO videos, make sure you hit the like button, leave me a comment on any IPO questions that you might have, and subscribe to this growing community for more videos on saving and investing. If you stuck till the end of the video, then the highest in me recognizes the highest in you. And I will see you again in my next video.